too long. I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. I first want to just share some very good news and some thank yous. So I want to thank Ellen, Matt, Lynn, and so many of the people and everyone here at RIRA that have been fighting for ferry service for so very, very long. Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney secured millions of dollars in federal funding, and during my campaign, Joe Strong, Saul Maydell testified at the City Planning Commission and the City Council. Once I became a City Council person, I continued to fight for the ferry service. We actually got into our budget response for the City Council last year, along with everything else. And as part of the Astoria Cove development deal, I'm on the Land Use Committee. And I actually conditioned my vote, making sure that they got their ferry landing, because everybody was had the knowledge that if Astoria Cove got the ferry, so would we. So I think a lot of people have already read about it on the Roosevelt Islander blog. And thank you, Rick, for continuing to act as the fourth estate and provide the public service of getting the news out. But it is my pleasure to announce that we will be receiving ferry service on Roosevelt Island. It is 2017 for Roosevelt Island. We're also going to be getting ferry service on the east side at 91st Street and 63rd Street, which we've been doing. So Roosevelt Island will get it in 2017, and the Upper East Side will be getting it in 2018 at 63rd Street. We have an existing site at 91st Street that is ready to go live. And it will cost the same fare as a Metro Park. So it will be just the same price as that, and as we've long said, it's already almost impossible to get off this island on days where they shut down the Manhattan-bound F train. During my campaign, we were taking pictures of how overcrowded the tram was on weekends, and this will provide a valuable additional way for folks to get. And so the boat will go from here to 34th Street, and I was fairly insistent that 34th Street could not be the final destination, so you'll be able to come from here to 34th Street, down to the financial district, to Wall Street, to Pier 11. So I hope that is good news, and so that is the most important news, because that's something we've all been working on for so very long. And if you can give yourselves a round of applause, because it's been your advocacy. The other piece is we're giving away free bags at this meeting. We're also happy to do another event. We're fighting to stop pollution. One of the largest sources of pollution is plastic bags. And for those who say, well, I use my plastic bags as garbage bags, I'm already recycling. The number of bags you get when you go grocery shopping is an exponential number compared to the number you can possibly use. A lot of people end up throwing away. So we're working with the Citizens Committee for New York, and we have these tote bags we're giving away. They don't have my name on it, I'm sorry, but this is more about you than me. So in the bag we have the newsletter. So if you, it's only 9 pages this month. Usually we do an 8-page. I'm sorry. If you read all of it, if I can get a motion to waive reading, and that everyone will be on the honor system to read their newsletter, I won't read it to you, which elected officials tend to do, and I've been cautioned by Joe Strong. He says the best part about elected officials is when they're brief. And we also have a State of the District on the 8th, and you're welcome to join us on the 8th at Memorial Sloan Kettering. That's in the 60s, and that's going to be a quick, fun thing. We'll have some songs, we'll have some a general report on what the future holds for the next year. I'm going to need a list of things from everyone, because we keep getting everything done too quickly. I'm sorry, but it should be a lot of fun. And the great thing about having a Roosevelt Islander on my staff is Joe's been very consistent, and we're going to try to work together to get a town hall on Roosevelt Island this coming spring. And some just quick highlights. So we've got the bags, we've got the ferry service. That isn't in the newsletter because that happened in February. We're doing a forum on public education funding and what the state's budget proposal means to public education in this state. So we're going to be doing that on the 27th. And I'm also doing a, has anyone noticed the any homeless folks around Roosevelt Island or around the east side? I was actually talking and folks have brought that up. So the quick thing about when you see somebody who's homeless, their best thing to do, we actually have a column, we just put it in our town, but call 311. For all of you who are frustrated with 311, there's a new sheriff in town, call 311, call my office, we'll make sure 311 works for you. So if you call 311, we will the Department of Homeless, you'll be connected with the Department of Homeless Services. The first question they ask you is the person having an emergency. If you look at somebody and you think they're in an emergency, call 911. So if you call 301 instead of 911, you say, no, I don't think it's an emergency. You say there's this homeless person, they're going to ask you what they look like, where they are, any defining characteristics. They use that information to see if that person's already in their system. And they will dispatch a van with outreach workers who will then ask the person if they want to come in from the cold. Today it's actually fairly temperate, but any day that it's less than 34 degrees, it's a code of blue, which means a lot of requirements are waived and we double the staff. So what happens then? If you give your name and number, they'll actually call you back and tell you what happened. And that's really satisfying because it's not the satisfaction of giving them a quarter or a dollar or whatnot, it's the satisfaction of getting a call back saying, yes, that person is now on their way to a shelter, that person is going to get the services they need. One thing you should know is you may see the visible people on the street. If somebody's homeless, that means they're sleeping on the street. If they're there asking for money, that is often sometimes a panhandler, not necessarily a homeless person. If you see a panhandler, still call that in, and we'll send somebody out to figure out what's going on there. So you know we have 60,000 people who are homeless tonight, and of those, 24,000 are children. So for all the people out there saying, why can't homeless people get a job? Child labor laws. Most of these are families, and it's an affordable housing problem, that we're also going to be seeing on Roosevelt Island, which is when you lose your affordable housing, you have nowhere you can live. And so many of these people are young families, and it's about 40,000 families. It's only about 11,000 single adults. So we're going to be focusing a lot on homelessness as we go. When a person declines, sometimes the person is going to decline services, what ends up happening is you still call 311. You see somebody you're worried about, the thing you can do for them is you call 311. You can call them once a day, every day. It takes 5 minutes, and they will dispatch somebody, they will go out. And it turns out that over time, they will build a relationship and eventually convince that person to come in. So you're the eyes and ears. You're empowered to do something about it, but it is 311. If you feel like you called 311, you didn't have a good experience, or you called 311, they didn't call you back, even though you gave them your information, or you called 301 and it's still a problem and they've done it multiple times, we're happy to work with you. Just call my office, we'll make sure that it works. But along those lines, that's my pitch. On February 9th, February 9th is the HOPE. It's the Homeless Outreach Population Estimate. The Roosevelt Islands training site is at Hunter College, and if you go home tonight, and if you don't have anything better to do between 10:30 p.m. and 4 a.m., and your significant others don't mind you being out late at night with me, we'll be doing a canvass of the neighborhood to find out who's there. It's safe. You ask a couple of questions, and it helps inform where we send our resources. And Roosevelt Island is in the Hunter College territory. And then you have to register as soon as you can. It's first come, first serve. The training starts at Hunter at 10:30 p.m. There's also a subway task force if you want to join the subway team. That's at, the MTA does it at 9 p.m. And then some other key items. Citibike is coming up to the rest of the east side. So for those of you, we worked together to get Citibike at 59th Street right by the tram. So that's been very helpful for any of you who are using it to go downtown. It's now going to start heading uptown. So we're going to be having a meeting with the community board on February 12th at Christchurch, 524 Park Avenue and 60th Street. I'm sponsoring it, and that's where you get to decide where the locations are going to be. And just so you know, courtesy of the Roosevelt Islander blog, which they already know, the zip code with the highest request for CitiBikes is 10044. So I know that RIRA and RIOC need to be working on making it safe for people to bike on the island, and make sure that Cornell make sure that whatever they do is safe for bikes. But we're happy to be supportive and work with you to try to bring Citibike to Roosevelt Island as well. It's just a matter of making sure that you're ready. We also have community board. We have a lot of vacancies coming up. I will not reappoint people who stop showing up. There was a lot of negative press for that last year, but this year people got the memo. We already have 4 resignations for people who have either resigned or won't be reapplying. I'd like to make sure that I'm geographically diverse, that I represent all people in my district. So we're looking for every type of diversity, and I passed a law with Borough President Gail Brewer allowing 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds to serve on community boards legally. Of course, the trivia is that Scott Stringer actually started on a community board at 16. So it's a great opportunity, and just make sure that it's a student that can handle the responsibility. It's about at least 12, if not 20 hours a month. Make sure that they sit down with those people who are already serving on the community boards. So I think that's all that I really want to go through from here. Please take the read through here, and I'll take questions. Yes?
On the ferry service, Roosevelt Island, who's going to be responsible for the dock, and how will it be financed?
So there's already money set aside by both the federal government, by RIRA, by the city government. It is a fair question. What we've all been doing for the past couple of years is studies, advocacy, so on and so forth. What we have is, this is going to happen. The mayor has said it's going to happen, he's put it in his state of the city. We don't have the details. So all of us are familiar with the RIOC study of the different locations. Based on diagrams, we can guess where it's going to be, but I still won't have details. But if you have specific requests and specific concerns, now is a good time. Joe Strong will raise his hand for all of you who already know him. Just grab him when you see him on the street, or call my office, or stop by. I will look to RIRA for if you have any input, and we will make sure to reach back. It's going to be through Economic Development Corporation, so EDC will likely own that dock. At the same time, Roosevelt Island is a operating corporation of the state of New York. So I know that RIOC is excited to make this happen. It's just about making sure we figure out, is it an EDC dock, is it a RIOC dock, and who's responsible for that. And I will be working very closely with the RIOC president to make sure we get everything ironed out properly. And actually, last but not least, I want to thank everyone. Raise your hand if you're a participatory budgeting delegate. So I just want to thank the PB delegates who have been active and involved. Those are the folks who are bringing an opportunity to bring capital funding to Roosevelt Island. Funding for PSIS 217 will probably happen without any too much difficulty. Similarly for the library, places like Good Shepherd, which are owned by RIOC, we're going to have to work with the Comptroller's Office. We're going to have to work with the Mayor's Office of Management and Budget, and try to figure out if we're able to steer money directly here. And then also, we'll be announcing it shortly if people already haven't. I understand that there's been that RIOC is no longer, it is unsure. There was recently a determination that RIOC may not be able to provide the $100,000 in funding to groups on Roosevelt Island, which is unfortunate, and I just want to let you know I'm here to support you. The Congress and Assembly and Senate no longer have member items. Part of that is because a lot of city council people went to jail because they were using them inappropriately. So we have capital budget, that's what we're doing with participatory budgeting. Expense is paying for programs for people for things less than $35,000. So we will try to make sure that we're sending out communications to every group. If every group hasn't heard, please make sure. The deadline is February 20th for expense applications. I will be honest, I don't have $100,000 that I can only give to Roosevelt Island because I have 168,000 people that I need to take care of all over the district, but I want to try to do as much as I can to support groups on Roosevelt Island. I want to focus on areas of high need and do as much as I can. So we'll also, I actually do meetings with some of the groups. I work weekends, and which means Joe works weekends, and Sushant, our budget director, works weekends, and one day we'll get a day off, but hopefully no time soon. And so I'll be doing mobile hours myself here on Roosevelt Island to meet with groups that are seeking funding, just so that you actually know, you get to see, talk to me in the flesh, and I will try to do my best, and hopefully that'll be enough. Joe, is there anything else that I may have missed from all the various things going on, even though you wanted me to be briefer? Okay. Frank?
Just a quick reminder on the participatory budget voting, such a hard phrase. The community here is going to be voting on that at some point in terms of the selection of the charter, along with the rest of your district. You want to tell us about when that?
That's going to be in April. We're still working out the locations and the dates. If you actually have specific times you think most people will be available, we can get that from RIRA in the nearest time. Anyone who lives on Roosevelt Island, 16 or older, can vote. So I think one of the issues that, even if they're not citizens, so one of the lamentations I hear is that there are a lot of people who live here, but very few who get to vote in the elections. For local candidates, in this case, everyone who lives here gets to vote. 16 or older, you don't need ID, you just need to prove that you live here, so you can bring an envelope that has your address on it, and that'll be for a week in April. And if you have specific locations that, if you say to me, Ben, I need you to set up a table at the tramway or at the visitor center, and I want you to set up on a Sunday from 3 to 6 because everyone on the island will be there from 3 to 6, or be there from 5 to 7 during rush hour in the evening. Wherever it is you tell us to go, we will go there because we will go to the voters. And then the other piece to know is we are happy to teach you about how to run a campaign and how to run this just like an election, which is you call, we will give you lists of people who live in the neighborhood, and you do a phone bank and you call them out and we say, we need to win PB, we need this money for XYZ, will you come out and vote? And did anyone get a call from me during the election when I was running in 2013 where I called and asked you for your vote? So a bunch of you did. So you do the same thing, but instead of asking them to vote for you, you want them to vote for your project. So we're happy to train you and support you on that. Any other questions? Because I've gone on quite a long time.
If you have any questions, make sure to contact the council member's office directly. We thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.